In Fairfield County, something new comes across my desk every day. Crimes are committed, cases are solved, and a community is made safe by the hardworking employees of the Fairfield County Sheriff's Office. Welcome to This Week with Sheriff Dave Phelan, a weekly program here on LSN. We're also carried by a number of the radio affiliates here in Lancaster. Do appreciate you, the viewers and listeners that join us each and every week. This program is produced at Fairfield Christian Academy, and our executive producer, Kelli Roberts. This week we have a great guest, Kelli Stats.
Hello, Sheriff.
Yeah, good to see you. Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you.
And we had a lot to talk about last week, and we got a lot of good things to talk about this week. Just for the viewers or listeners that may not tuned in last week, tell us a little bit about yourself and your background.
Well, I currently work in the Detective Bureau. I started with the Sheriff's Office and I went through the Academy in 1998, became full-time in 1999, where I worked in the 911 Dispatch Center on the Patrol Division, and as I said, currently in the Detective Bureau. Some other things I've done with the Sheriff's Office, I went through a training for hostage negotiation, and I do currently with a couple other negotiators with the office, and we go out and respond on calls with the SWAT team.
And well, tell us a little bit about some of the things that a hostage negotiator would have to know or do.
Actually, it's pretty fascinating because I figured, seeing police shows and so forth, you just go and talk to somebody. But there's a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff you have to do. That's why we kind of have a team of negotiators. And one person's getting family background, getting background on the person that we're talking to. And then, of course, you have the main negotiator who's doing the talking. And you're basically just trying to, let that person know, hey,
right,
you're having some problems. We understand that. We all have problems. And let's talk through it. And you just try to keep the lines of communication up with them to get them to relax, get them to trust you. And just let them know, there might be some consequences out of what's happening today, but we'll work through it. You'll get through it. And, it's unfortunate sometimes it doesn't work,
right,
but with the training and so forth, a lot of times we hope that it does work.
And so you could be called out at any time?
At any time. At any time. The SWAT team might be called out on something that starts out as just a normal, search warrant. The patrol division shows up on a domestic situation that turns into a hostage situation, a barricade situation. So yeah, we can be called out at any time. We get our team together, we get a game plan, and we work with the SWAT team, the SWAT commanders, and we come up with a game plan and try to, obviously, best case scenario, we'll make sure everybody's safe.
And I think today it's more important than it ever was.
Absolutely.
Based on the environment we see and all the things we see around not only the United States but around the world.
Absolutely, and that's it's very unfortunate that we do deal with a lot of mental health now. That's one of the bigger issues, the mental health and so forth, and you do deal with a lot of people that are under a lot of stress and so forth. It's like I said, it's very fascinating. There's a lot more to it than what I perceived in the beginning before I did the training. And it's a good system. It really is.
Now, one of the things that, as we were preparing for the program, I saw where you've had an opportunity to visit a number of schools.
Yes.
So tell us what you do when you go into the schools.
The schools, those are the fun ones. Those are the really fun part of our job. We've been contacted a couple years ago by Amanda Clear Creek. They had asked us to come out, and their juniors and seniors were doing part of a forensic, their science class, where they were learning about law enforcement and so forth. So myself and a couple other detectives actually went out and put a crime scene together. And it was really fun. We wouldn't allow them to come in the room. We put the crime scene tape up. We told them, this is what we're going to do. We're going to walk you through a crime scene, how we would do it, and I want you guys to look for clues. We take photographs of everything, and they had a lot of fun. It was a whole day event. So we've done that. We've visited, this year, myself and another detective visited Amanda Clear Creek, 8th grade science class.
Okay.
We split it up. We taught half the class about fingerprinting, and we taught half the class about doing DNA swabbing, and how science relates to our job. And then the real fun one is at the end of every school year. Amanda Clear Creek always calls and asks us to do kind of like a community service day. The fire department's there, law enforcement's there, and they have some other speakers. And it's just that we take our SWAT cars out, we take our Detective Bureau cars, and we open them up, and the kids get to crawl inside of them. They get to look, they get to see the canine, and it's just, that is a real fun day. We spend probably the first part all morning with the kids. We have different groups, kindergarten, first and second. And then this year they actually were so nice and made us all lunch. And we got to actually play on the playground with the kids for a little bit.
Oh,
so,
boy.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. We've been to Millersport. Millersport High School asked us to come out and do a social media, give a presentation to the students, and in the evening we did parents, teaching them about social media, how to deal with social media. We've been to Pickerington, talking about internet safety. So yeah, we do a lot of different things with the schools, which is great because we love to go in and talk to the schools.
Yeah,
And
so
talk
it's
to the
not all
kids.
just we're investigating crime all the time.
Nope.
We're doing some of those outreach.
Nope.
And you know what I've noticed, Detective Stats, at least over the last month or so, because there's been a lot of negative things going on. You know, we've had officers across the country assassinated through ambushes. We've had a lot of negative comments about police officers. And what I've found in Fairfield County is there is an appreciation for what we do. And over the last few weeks, I have gotten a number of calls. In fact, I got a really nice one yesterday of people, just citizens calling, thanking us for the job we do. And we've had things, you know, cookies delivered to the office, and we've had a lot of outpouring in the different churches have said they want to do something to honor us. In fact, coming up this week, one of the churches is going to have a luncheon for the police department, the sheriff's office. So it really, although you hear a lot of things on the news, I think the reality is, and probably in most places in the country, that there is an appreciation and respect for law enforcement, no matter what you may see on the nightly news.
Absolutely, and you're right. I worked the Lancaster Festival Saturday night, and it was a great show. The amount of people that came up to us that night and said, "Thank you for what you do. Thank you for being here for us." It was overwhelming. It really was. And the one that particularly stands out to me is a veteran. A veteran came up to us and said, "I used to be in the military. I was in the Vietnam War, and thank you guys for everything you do for us here. And if you guys need any backup, we'll be here for you."
Yeah.
And I thought that was the nicest thing that, you know, because you're right, with all the negativity going on, we don't hear the positive.
Right.
More than we need to.
Yeah, and I don't think in my career that I've seen so many negative stories. I mean, it really has been, and many times blatantly unfair.
It is. It's very unfortunate, you know, that when you hear it, you know, you as a law enforcement officer, you do want to hang your head and say, you know, oh, what now?
Right.
What now? But knowing what you do, and when you have these victims, that after a case is over with, that the family and that victim comes up to you and puts her arms around your neck and gives you a big hug and says thank you,
Right.
you know it's worth it, and you can hang your head high and, you
Right.
know, wear your badge proudly.
Now, getting back to some of the other things, one of the cases that we talked about before airtime was a case, it was an important case, was the Gates case, and you were the lead investigator on that. Tell us a little bit about what that was about.
Well, I was not the lead investigator, but with those kind of cases, we kind of all jump in.
So it's not necessarily lead, you could have the whole detective bureau depending on the type of crime.
Right,
Okay.
in this particular case, it was a very unfortunate domestic situation that we were called out on, where the husband had shot his wife. She was basically, you know, she had died a couple times, you know, then they brought her back. And this woman, in this case, a wonderful woman. I had never met her. We were behind the scenes. We did a lot of the processing and the interviewing and so forth. But it was a very sad situation. But we've got, with us, the Detective Bureau, the Prosecutor's Office, we got a wonderful, wonderful conviction on it. And I finally got to meet the woman for the first time in court. I testified in court, and she's just an amazing person to go through what she had done. But it was a tough case.
Wasn't she shot a couple times? Or?
Yes, she was shot a couple times in her leg.
Yeah, I've also met her, and she's an inspiration.
Oh my gosh,
Yes.
if anybody out there that's involved in domestic violence could just hear this woman's story, the people that would come forward and have the strength to come forward and report domestic violence, they would get this strength from this woman. She was just absolutely amazing. I had went and spoke to the class at Stanberry, the law enforcement class that they have out there.
Right.
And we got to talk to them a little bit, and this was one of the cases that we brought up and talked about. And afterwards, I'd even encouraged the instructor, if you guys get to this point in your curriculum and you guys are talking about domestic violence, this would definitely be somebody you would want to have come in and speak with your class, because they would definitely learn from her experience.
What do you tell a friend or relative, someone that becomes aware of domestic violence within a relationship? What are some things that they can kind of do to help?
Well, first and foremost, if it's somebody that is a relative or something that knows about it, you know, a lot of people don't want to get involved. But we don't want them to end up where they're going to a family's funeral.
Right.
Report it. You know, if you want to be anonymous, we try to keep people as anonymous as possible, but report it. Because if we don't know that, if you don't report it, we don't know what's happening. And, you know, victims that are victims of domestic violence, we know it's hard. We can't put ourselves in that situation, but the only thing we can give is them the support. Let them know, give them the outreaches, you know, the lighthouse, give them all those tools that they can use to get them some help while we're going through the criminal part of it. But if we don't know what's happening, we can't do anything about it. Report it.
Report it. We have about a minute and a half left. One last question. If you had to choose another career, what would it have been?
You know, I really don't think I can answer that.
Yeah.
Because
okay.
I love law enforcement so much.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And I tell people all the time that, and I've been doing this since I've been 22 years old, that I can't think of a day that I didn't enjoy coming to work. That I didn't think, wow,
Right.
this is a wonderful
I
career.
can actually, you know, go to work every day saying, you know, you get frustrated sometimes,
Yeah.
but I can actually say I love my job.
Right, right. And it shows, because you do a great job.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
We're just about out of time. Kelly, I appreciate you being here, and
Thanks for having me.
we'll have to have you back. You've been a great guest for the last 2 weeks, and I'm sure the viewers and listeners learned a lot about
Thank
a
you.
lot of different things within the Detective Bureau, and some things certainly about domestic violence.
Thank you.
Well, we're just about out of time. And again, I appreciate each and every one of you. I say this every week, but I really mean it. I appreciate you that join us for this program, and certainly the folks here at Fairfield Christian Academy that let us have the facilities, and they're behind the scenes producing, directing the show. Our executive producer, Kelli Roberts, does so much, lining the guests up, getting the questions together, and it just makes for a great program. The clock on the wall says we're about out of time. Until next week, same time, same place. God bless, and we'll see you right here next week.